Welcome to Replatform TV, the YouTube channel for the popular Replatform podcast, available on all popular platforms including Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Hosted by myself, Paul Rogers, and fellow experienced e-commerce consultant James Gurd, we'll provide regular deep dives into important e-commerce topics with practical advice for getting results and improving your site performance.
Hello, and welcome everybody to Replatform on YouTube. So, going to give a quick video introduction to what we're doing and why, and a bit of history of where we've come from. But let's do a few intros first for those of you who've not come across Replatform before or not met me and Paul. So, my name's James Gurd. I'm an independent e-commerce consultant. I'm the owner of Digital Juggler, which is a consultancy specialising in replatforming and digital strategy. Paul, over to you, mate.
Yeah, so my name's Paul Rogers and I run a company called Vivant, which is a paid media agency and e-commerce consultancy based in London.
Cool. And myself and Paul have dovetailed for years on projects, giving each other advice and kind of putting work each other's way. And then we suddenly decided at the end of 2019, I think it was literally right at the end of November coming into December, that it'd be quite good fun to launch a podcast on the exceptionally niche topic of replatforming, just so we could cure people's insomnia online. And it was a bit of a punt, to be honest. And we thought we'd see how it went. And actually, it's been a very good first 12 months. Hence the reason why we're opening up a YouTube channel. We're going to be doing more video content around replatforming as well. So replatform, let me see if I describe it in a different way that you would, Paul. But for me, replatform is basically a place to come and get practical advice and insights on anything to do with replatforming, whether that is around the e-commerce vendors and the technology companies, or the process of replatforming, or good practice for specific capabilities related to a project. So that could be payment management, it could be price management, product catalog management. And so we're approaching it from a completely agnostic point of view. Like we are not trying to hawk any particular solution or any particular third party. It's more about, we've been through this process so many times and it's complex and it stresses people out and people get things wrong because they don't know what they're doing. And actually, if we can help by demystifying some of the areas and give people better insights, they can make smart decisions for their businesses. So it really is that we want practical insights and advice on the what, why and how of replatforming. Do you reckon that does it justice, Paul?
I think that summarises it perfectly, to be honest. I don't really have anything to add. I guess the only other thing is just we brought on quite a few really interesting vendors that maybe can add value in ways that might not have been thought about in the past. But yeah, to be honest, I think you've summarised it perfectly. It's kind of independent, impartial, best practice recommendations based on our experience and the people that we have on.
Yeah, and you're right. The guest bit's really important because there are some episodes that myself and Paul do ourselves. Like we just did one on site search for e-commerce and what good looks like and some of the mistakes people make and how to avoid them. But most of the time, what we're trying to do is bring experts in their area to you as the audience to say, hey, look, you know, if you're talking about price management and price strategy for e-commerce, then we did an episode with Pricing. We've just recently done an episode with Yota on site speed and performance around, improving, working with third parties where loads of JavaScript can kill the site performance. We've done episodes of the likes of Adyen and Checkout on e-commerce payment gateways and payment integration. So it really is trying to get people to share their advice and knowledge with you rather than us trying to pretend that we know everything, which no one person ever does. We've been going 12 months, mate. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, so I didn't realise that. Like James just told me, which I thought was pretty cool. Doesn't feel like it's been going that long. The episodes have started stacking up. So we're up to 50 episodes now. And we've gone from 20, 25, 30 listens per episode, maybe 9 months ago, 9 months ago, to around kind of 200, early 200s on average, which is pretty cool. And I think our maximum is just over 300. Is that right? Or not maximum, highest?
Yeah, it is the Shopify episode that you did with Piers from We Make Websites. It's still the number one. It was actually in the second or third month we did that. So it's gradually ticked off a few additional listens. So I think each time new people discover the podcast and they come in at episode 20, 30, 40 and they listen to the current ones, then obviously some people go back and start to cherry pick out the historical episodes that are most interesting. So it's nice to see that there's some evergreen episodes in there as well.
Absolutely. And we've also, I think some of the people we've been getting on recently have been really good as well. So we've got the GM from Shopify Plus coming on. We've got someone from Loaf coming on who is really interested and has got a lot of good experience. Yeah, and then there's a few other people that we've got planned for 2021 that I think will be really interesting.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like I should have a beer or a glass of like champagne or something, given it's episode 50, and that actually we haven't bored people to death. That people have stayed awake through to episode 50. It's pretty good going. So I thought it'd be useful for people if we pull out a few kind of like key insights into like our audience and what we're doing. So yeah, as you said, episode 50, it's not bad. Our unique listeners is around the 200 mark. It does vary depending on the topic, because obviously some topics are more niche than others. You know, site performance is generally not going to get as much attraction as something like a general one around Shopify and Shopify platform news. Interestingly, we had our biggest ever month, in October, November. We went over 1,000 unique listens in the month the first time. And at the start of the year, it was under 100 unique listens for the month. So amplification of audience has been really good. And we're pretty happy with this, because we've not done much to boost it from a marketing point of view other than sharing out to our networks on social. So we're looking forward to putting a bit more effort into the marketing of it next year. In terms of like demographic mixes, it's 43% at the moment is UK, 23% US, and then we've got single digit from like Australia, Germany, France, Netherlands, Sweden. So quite a broad mix, but we expect it to be UK centric because that's where our kind of core networks are and where we're more well known. In terms of where people are listening to it, so Apple Podcasts is still number one. It has been from the start. It's actually grown its share. It's now up to 46%. And then we're on Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, and loads of other ones, slightly more obscure ones that people use in places like Stitcher. So the podcast distribution is key. I mean, people do come to the website to watch it, but it's a tiny percentage of the audience. I think we had about 9% on Anchor, which is our kind of distribution platform. That's where we upload and manage all the episodes. So 9% come direct there, which is through listening to and the embed on the website. But the majority, they've got their standard listeners. They wait for the episode to get published and it's in their queue. So I think that's an interesting learning, isn't it? Something I hadn't really understood, to be honest, before we launched this, is that not that many people are going to come to a website and listen to the podcast on your website.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Random question to add to this. What was your favourite episode that we've done so far?
Oh my word, that's a good one. So favourite episode is in guest episode, or favourite episode is just
which one have you found the most interesting?
I've got a few. I have to say that the PriceSync one for me was brilliant, because I've known PriceSync and I looked at it a long time ago, but I've never worked with it in detail, and seeing some of their additional features around how they do their price management and the data integrations you can give them to do more effective price segmentation was cool. And I also really enjoyed the EpiServer one with the CEO, Alex, when they had announced the acquisition of Optimizely, because having been a big fan of the EpiServer platform for a while and having done an integration with it and known that their testing capabilities natively were better than the other platforms I work with, to see them acquire Optimizely is quite a punchy acquisition. So I'm intrigued. I really love listening to Alex. He was super enthusiastic. And to get the CEO of a big organization to take their time out, I know a few businesses have done that for us. It's always I'm always hugely appreciative of that. How about yourself then? What about which ones have got your excitement levels up?
Yeah, I thought the BigCommerce one recently was really good. So I thought Jim was like really honest, which we said at the time, and like really open. I thought that was a really good one. I like ages ago, or like I think was it even our first one, or one of the first ones was Adyen, which I thought was really good, because there were a few kind of bits at the time that were really interesting. I thought the Aquino one was good as well. I did like the Piers one. I thought that was really interesting.
Is that because you were the one who did it?
Well, yeah, but I thought that was quite interesting because there's some quite deep bits in it around Shopify. Yeah. And Yotta was the other one. Obviously a really recent one, but yeah, I thought that was really interesting. But there's been loads, to be honest. I think there's probably loads I've forgotten that were really good as well.
I'll tell you one thing that I've surprised myself at is how addicted I am to checking the episode listen numbers after we publish a new one, because I love seeing where we've had like a previous episode that maybe has been a little bit lower in listens than the few before it, and then we publish a new one and all of a sudden you see that jump 10 or 20 listens as well. It is strangely addictive to look at it. Yeah,
I agree. I always whenever I upload the next one, I always go back and look at the other ones. And yeah, I remember there was a point when we went into lockdown the first time where we had like a bit of a lull, didn't we? And at that point, I was a bit like, worried that I guess like listenership would go down, but it's gone. Thankfully, it's kind of gone straight back up from that.
Yeah, it is. I'm intrigued to see how we go next year, because we've got some exciting plans. I mean, so let's talk through what we're planning to see for next year. What would be one of the key things you'll pull out for people that we're going to do that's a bit different to what we're doing now?
So I think the big one, your idea, was to kind of group episodes within themes. So I can't remember what the so performance, security, and optimization. Is that right? Which is the first one. I think there's some really good episodes in there, and I think as a result of the kind of topic theme groupings, we're putting a bit more kind of time into thinking about, what's going to be the most interesting content we could put into this month, or this kind of series, or mini series is probably a better way of positioning it. And I think that's really good. And then I think just generally trying to push for kind of bigger names, I think there's some really nice kind of in-house guests that we both want to bring on. So kind of senior people within kind of brands and retailers. And then I think just more of the same as well, like interesting vendors, more around kind of planning and processes. We need to continue doing more ourselves as well, because I think they're good episodes. What would you add to that?
The one that I'm really interested in, I know that we're doing some more planning over the next few weeks on this, is bringing together the panel discussions, because at the moment all episodes is basically it's one third party, like Yota for performance or BigCommerce for their platform update. And the bit I'm really interested in is how we get more people onto a panel discussion. So, for example, getting multiple SaaS platforms on to talk about why SaaS has grown so quickly, what are the advantages, but what the challenges SaaS providers are facing versus like the more legacy, the considered monoliths, etc. I think doing those panel discussions where we get a range of skill and knowledge sets around a topic, not competing against each other, but sharing knowledge and discussing, that will really help. And the ability for us to turn that into live events through streaming onto like LinkedIn, which will obviously enable streaming onto things like YouTube as well. That for me, I'm really keen to get going. We just need to plan it out and have a much clearer kind of calendar of that. So that'd be fun. Yeah, people are interested, so that's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember that. I would like the idea of doing. We've talked about doing a security one. Someone did this around the time of the end of life of M1, and they basically had 3 or 4 of the top security people on. I really like the idea of doing that a bit more kind of independently of platform. So
yes. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the key thing. Is what we want a mix of vendors, independents, consultants, specialists, freelancers, thought leaders, client side people who are heads of e-commerce or whatever, and are talking it from a different point of view, because no one person has all the knowledge and all the answers in terms of Replatform. It's such a complex topic that only by listening to different viewpoints and different sets of experience can you get that wider view of it. And I think that's an important thing. So I guess that was what we wanted to do today on this intro for our YouTube channel, wasn't it? So just say hello, let you know what we're doing, what Replatform is. The other thing to say as well is we don't think we've necessarily got the right answer for what the best content should be. We're always on the lookout for suggestions. So if you're interested in Replatform, which I hope you are for listening to this, then do let us know. If there's a particular topic or a particular kind of technology you'd like to see featured, give us a shout and let us know. You can tap myself and Paul up through Twitter. You can go to our website, replatform.fm, and there's a form you can fill out and contact us. Hook us up on LinkedIn, whatever. We're always open to suggestions. We can't act on everything just because there's not enough hours in the day, but if we think something fits in with where we're trying to take Replatform and we've got contacts that we could bring for an interesting episode, we'll happily do it.
Brilliant.
Cool. So thanks for listening, everyone. Keep your eyes out for the next videos. We're going to be doing a series of videos around podcast topics that link into the audio podcast we've got. So you can get teasers on here, and then you can go and find more in-depth content on the audio podcast if you're interested. Thanks for listening.
Great. Thanks for listening, everyone.